Okay, we're going live.
Okay, and I started the recording.
All right, I just did.
Okay. You started the recording?
I did. Yeah, I clicked the button.
Okay.
Live on Facebook.
Yay, there we are.
Hi.
That's
Hi,
awesome.
everybody. All right.
Hi.
So, hi, Diana. All right. Everybody's talking.
No,
Am I frozen?
no? Oh, maybe.
I'm frozen. No? What else is frozen? This is
I don't see no frozen.
Cue the circus music.
My circus, my monkeys.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
All right. Well, hello, Facebook. Forgive us for being a few minutes behind. We are just getting started here. We need to make sure that we're sharing this out.
You just talk. I'll do that.
All right. I want to invite Miss Sylvia. So, can we send her a panelist link, Michelle? Do you have her email? Do you have her email?
No. Is she aware that that's going to be happening?
Yep, she is now. In the meantime, Sylvia, if you are watching, which I think you are, we're going to send you. Michelle's going to be sending you a panelist link because you have sparked.
I don't know how to send a panelist link now that we're started and in. Somebody tell me.
The one you sent me worked. Just you can keep.
It did, so just
Yeah.
forward.
I just have to change it. My name.
All right.
Yeah, it just took me a couple times.
All right. So,
Alrighty.
Sylvia, back to Sylvia. Sylvia posted on Facebook a little while ago a question, and the question was, what do you guys think about forgiveness? Do you forgive someone after they've shown you their ugly true colors, or do you say sayonara and cut ties entirely? Can you forgive and still not want to have anything to do with that person? Looking forward to some thoughtful input here from you. So forgiveness, that's one of those topics that we talk about in our class, and I certainly have a lot to say about it. But I thought before I did that, I would open it up to our esteemed panel of judges, and not really judges, to our esteemed panel, and see
Incredible sources.
yes, see
Yes.
what you guys. What are your guys' thoughts about forgiveness and Sylvia's questions?
So my thought is always, it's not always, but my thought is, my belief is, forgiveness is never about the other person. Never. It's not for anyone else. It is only for me. The reason being is because if I am carrying around a bunch of crap about things that other people have done to me or reasons to be mad at other people, and I'm not going to forgive them, I'll never forgive them, that is only hurting me. That's not doing anything else to the other person. They don't even know. They're going on with their lives. It's not even registering for them. The only person it's hurting is me. It's carrying that emotional baggage, carrying that load is physically and mentally trying. And actually it's science, people. That's quantifiable. You're not forgiving for other people. You are forgiving for you.
True story. Well said.
Okay.
I think that could be an aspect of it. I honestly believe that that's half of it. That we do give forgiveness to other people. I think it does mean something to forget, to tell somebody else that you forgive them, and then it's up to them to receive that or not receive that. But I do believe it is a two-way street. And what I heard Sylvia ask was to forgive them or cut them off. And I don't think it's the same question. I don't think cutting somebody off has anything to do with forgiveness. It's entirely possible for me to forgive somebody and cut ties with them.
Absolutely.
And it's just the relationship doesn't benefit me at some point.
Absolutely.
It's also okay to have them around and forgive them. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think there's a question of forgiving somebody or not forgiving somebody. And then there's a question of having them in your life or not. I think those are two separate questions, in my opinion.
Agreed. And I also think it depends on the context of what's occurring. There's been times where things have happened in my life that I said I forgave the person, and if I'm being real with myself, I didn't forgive them, and I needed time to heal. And saying that I forgive someone for myself and saying, oh, I'm going to feel better because I forgive them, it's just still not being honest with myself. And I've done that, and I've spent years carrying something because I would sweep it under the rug, as opposed to just really being okay with not forgiving them for a while because they did something that was really painful, and it's okay to feel hurt.
So and I agree with all of that. And here's my real life example. The most intense real life example I can come up with is that my ex-husband's wife, so the father, or ex-husband's sister, so the father of my children, his sister was murdered by her husband. In court, her parents were there and said, I forgive you. They never had any contact with him again. He was never a part of the family. It was a foregone conclusion that he was out of our lives completely. They lost their daughter. He took their daughter away from them, and they said, I forgive you, because they would not be able to live healthy, productive lives that moved them forward positively unless they did that. Because they're going to carry enough emotional baggage at the loss of their daughter. Carrying that too didn't make any sense to them. And I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Totally. And I think sometimes, and that's amazing that they got to that point. And sometimes I think that takes time, right? And it is the most noble thing to do for yourself. And sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I don't feel that right now. And I'm going to be kind to myself because that's what I need to heal first, and eventually get to that point. And I think that that's a choice that sometimes has to come with time and doesn't just happen like that.
And I am by no means submitting you shouldn't feel the emotion. If you're mad at somebody, be mad at somebody. Feel that emotion. Do whatever that emotion going to do for you, because we all know that if we don't feel it, if we don't let it happen, if we swallow it, if we don't all know, we should all know that if we swallow it or push it down, that's going to back up on us anyway. That shit's going to come back, and it will manifest itself in ugly, ugly ways. So feel the emotions. Absolutely. I'm not submitting that at all. And you're right. If it takes time and you need to get to that place, then again, take that time. Do what you need to do for your own well-being, and don't stay there.
Agreed.
So I'm gonna push back a little bit on you, Niana. I'm gonna agree with the idea. I'm gonna pretty much agree with exactly what Michelle said, that it is the emotion that you feel. You can be mad about it. You can carry that around. I would offer that the faster you choose the forgiveness, you can still be mad about it and forgive. because the very first thing Michelle said is that forgiveness isn't for the other person. And I also heard what you said, Dominic, that if you want, if there's something about the relationship that you feel like you want to tell somebody, I forgive you, so that they can get something out of it, that's fine. But the emotional baggage release aspect of forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It's all about you. And the faster you make the choice to say, you know what, I forgive that person, and I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let the emotional baggage component of that go. I'm still angry with them, and I may or may not ever talk to them again. And the faster you choose to let it go, the healthier that is for you. I believe they're two separate components.
I don't understand the difference. What's the difference between being continually mad at somebody and forgiving them at the same time?
So I can forgive you for what you did. So you do something that hurts me, and I can choose to forgive you for what you did right now and still be angry that you did it to me or whatever. I can carry some emotion about what you did, but the forgiveness, the severing of the connection, the negative
Power.
the power of it is what the forgiveness does. I can still remember what you did. I guess maybe that's a better way to say it. So anytime we are releasing emotional baggage of any kind, it's not about forgetting what happened.
There
So
may still be a lesson there.
We always want to preserve the learnings from whatever the event was. It's letting the emotional charge of the circumstance go. So maybe my example is saying I'm still angry at you, but I've forgiven you. That may not be the case.
I think that's the absolute opposite. I think that's holding the emotional charge of it.
Yeah.
So for me,
So I guess where I was going with that is I can still create a story about what happened, and I can still create the story and create anger about what happened or upset. And that might be something that, like what you're talking about, Diana, where it's going to take me some time to get over the fact that this occurred. And I still have some emotion about what occurred. I still feel sadness, or I still feel grief, or I still feel whatever the emotion is related to the circumstance. But the fact that you did it, that I'm cutting that component off, I'm saying that there's two components there.
We get it.
So I've heard people say my entire life, I forgive, I just don't forget.
Right.
And to me, that's always been the most, I'm not going to use the word, that to me has been absolutely erroneous my entire life. I don't separate the two. So if you still have an emotional charge, to me, forgiveness is getting rid of the emotional charge, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. And there could still be a lesson from it.
No, I forgive them. I'm just so mad at them still. Well, I don't, so you haven't forgiven them yet. You still hold a charge for it. And that's fine. I'm not saying that's wrong. They might do something that's just so egregious. Is it possible that they do something so egregious that I can't forgive them? Yeah,
yes.
I do believe that's possible.
Sure.
That's
your choice.
I'm sorry, Chad?
It's a choice.
That's a choice.
Absolutely.
It's a choice.
And
I think forgiveness is a lot harder to do than it is to say. I forget, and I've been doing that my whole life, to be honest with you. I can say, no, I forgive you. That's fine. But I'm one of the ones that said, I forgive, but I don't forget. I forgive that you broke my trust, but I'm never going to trust you again.
I think that's okay, though.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. So severing
the lesson.
or making choices around it is different than the emotional charge. So, and I also think there's two emotional charges where Kevin was going. So there's the emotional charge around the situation, maybe, and there's the emotional charge around the person.
Oh, gotcha.
If there's emotional charge around the person that committed the act, then I'm not ready to forgive them. And even if I say I've forgiven them, if I still can tell a story that creates an emotional charge around the person, I haven't really forgiven them. Now, the act may have created circumstances that had longer lasting effects. You know, Michelle talked about a murder. I could still tell a story about the murder that creates an emotional charge of sadness or something like that about the situation. For me, if I'm still focusing on the person though, and not what happened or that's a different emotional charge for me, that I haven't really forgiven that person. If I can still, and cutting the ties, whatever that looks like, is part of getting rid of the emotional charge, either determining to keep the ties together or release them. You can do something to me and I will forgive you and I will never trust you again. I've still forgiven you and our relationship is now that. It is not a relationship of trust. In fact, maybe it's a relationship of we're just done. And I still have no emotional charge towards you at all for whatever happened. But I could still choose to not trust you again until you've earned that, potentially.
And that's, I think part of what I'm getting at is with the way the world is today, with so much personal development out there and so much think positive and choose, and I get that that's our main message and it's extremely powerful. I think sometimes what happens is that we create this story of, I have to create this story of positivity. And so people start saying, oh, I forgive them, but they don't in their hearts really feel that yet. And they got to do the work to get there. Without doing the work, you're just lying to yourself. And I think you can choose it, but sometimes it takes getting really real with yourself before you can even choose it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, again, is back to feeling the emotion and doing what you need to do to deal with that. And then forgiving for you. And absolutely, Kevin, again, not submitting, don't cut people off, because if it's a toxic relationship, then it's not benefiting anybody. Absolutely.
Sure.
Forgiveness is, so I would agree with Kevin on forgiveness is letting go of the emotional charge. There's potentially always a lesson to be learned from it. You know, sometimes the lesson might just be what not to do, right? There's always a lesson. There's always value in it. There's always a lesson to be learned from it. Letting go of the emotional charge, that's the forgiveness part. To Dominic's point, I will forgive you and I'll never forget. Then no, nobody's saying forget. Again, there's a lesson in there. You know, choose different people to be in your life. You know, you don't trust that person again, whatever that lesson looks like. But the forgiveness is about letting go of the emotional charge, because plain and simple fact, again, science people, you hold on to that. That's the kind of stuff that we're holding on, carrying around, pushing down, that's causing physical and mental illness. And the sooner we can, and I'm not just making that up, that's not, and it's legitimate for you. I don't care one iota in any situation about anybody else when it comes to forgiveness, because it is not. I believe wholeheartedly it's not about anybody else. Let's look at what people are saying. What the people are saying.
What are they saying?
Alicia Kelly Conroy says, I agree, Kevin, same applies when you need to forgive yourself for mistakes as well. Yes, you taught me that. So like High5, I go first. Forgiveness starts with me, right? Yeah, we could forgive ourselves and be kind to ourselves in order to do that with other people. Angela DeTulio says a great topic and one very needed in our world. Don Wynn, emotion will always be there, but time will pass all. And so that's to your point, Diana. Absolutely. And Angelo DeTulio got a story about it. He says, unless you're Sicilian. Paisan, you let that shit go. Tina Jackson-Hahn says, don't let the negative control you. Leanne Erie, working on forgiveness is a topic she is focused on. Alicia Kelly Conroy again. Kevin, the meditation that you sent me is one I do pretty regularly. I learn from every negative experience. Letting go of the emotional charge doesn't mean that I forget what happened. The lesson is in not forgetting what happened. The learning is applied in your following evolution. Nice.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, I do too. And Miss Roz Oaxaca Moffitt. Hardest forgiveness I've given is to myself. Absolutely. We are harder on ourselves than we ever are on anybody else. Tina Jackson Hahn, forgiveness is for your healing. Yeah. And Leanne Erie, the work around this is so important in order to be healthy. So again, what you were saying, Diana. And okay. Anyway, that's everybody. That's great input, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, Alicia mentioned the meditation. So
That's gonna be my question.
NLP at an NLP class, and Chad, you experienced this also, I believe. There's a Hawaiian chant. I like to think of it as a meditation, but it's a Hawaiian ritual of forgiveness, and it's a visual imagery of going through the process of truly severing the energetic connection between you and whoever the person is that you are forgiving. And the visual imagery of it is truly like cutting off, using like a giant pair of shears or scissors and cutting off the negative energy that's transpiring between you and the other person. And to Sylvia's question about reconnect with this person, as part of that process, you get to choose whether or not you want to establish a new energetic, positive, flowing connection to them, or you may not. And that's totally your choice, right? But it all tracks back to what Michelle said initially, in that it's about healing for you, because most of the time, whoever did whatever they did, they don't even think about it ever again, and we're carrying around whatever stories we are about, and we're not hurting them at all by thinking about the story. So really the forgiveness is about letting go of that emotional charge so that we can heal.
Guys,
Yes.
Hey, Caliber dudes, quit hijacking the posts. Quit hijacking the comment feed on the video.
Fired up, CC.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Diana.
So is that like the ring exercise that you put in your pocket, or is that something different?
No, it's actually something different than that. That's called a ring of power. That's a tool to recall a very powerful experience.
Can we give the name of it? I mean, it's a common.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. So get your pencils ready. It's called Ho'oponopono.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone put that in the chat.
Yeah, we'll put that out in the chat. And if anyone is interested in this topic, it's actually something that's very important to me, and that I'm doing ongoing research about, as it relates to releasing emotional baggage. It's one of the best tools. My internet's unstable, it says. One of the best tools for releasing that emotional baggage, and I would be happy to have a conversation with you and share that a recording of that meditation or that process with you, if you think that would be helpful to you.
So here is a great comment, Jessica Lichtenberg. Sometimes it's your own ego that stands in the way of forgiveness. Indeed. What are your thoughts on that, team?
So, interesting enough, I just went to a therapist last week, and what was she said something, she told me that I was not aware of something in the conversation. And then my ego went up right away, and I was like, me not aware? I'm extremely aware. And I told her that, and I said, I got almost really mad that you I'm very aware. And the way that she described it was so good that she said, your ego is just your little child, right? So all the ego is just your little girl inside of you who that one time got hurt. And you can't be mad at your ego, and you can't say, shut up, it doesn't matter. It's really about, hey, ego, it's okay. She wasn't saying that we're not aware. She was just saying that this is the next level of here is your blind spot. And I thought that just was a really cool analogy. So now every time I think of my ego, I don't picture it as something negative. I picture it as, oh, it's just little me, and I just got to take care of her. Yeah.
Well, and I also would say that the ego thinking, yes, on a lot of things. And it's our ego that keeps us holding on to it and not allowing us to forgive, because let me restate this. My ego, that when I hold on to it, that I don't allow myself to forgive because I way overestimate how important I am or it is to the other people. And in truth, they probably never thought about it again. And I'm thinking, well, of course they've thought about it. They're heinous humans or whatever. Why would they do such an awful thing to me? And yeah, so that's where my ego gets in the way.
So I know Sylvia was out there listening. Sylvia, did that address your questions? And or what else about forgiveness does anybody who's paying attention want to know? Thank you, Leanne, for putting the spelling of that out there.
Thanks. Hawaiian forgiveness meditation. Jessica Lichtenberg also said you have to tell your ego to pipe down. Tina Jackson Hahn said pride. So yeah, all of those things tie together. And I think it's just because again, in my case, I tend to overestimate how much impact whatever someone else did to me has on them.
Another thing I'll throw out there, I wonder if I've got a copy of it right here. I don't think so. So one of my favorite authors, and Diana talked about personal growth. One of my favorite authors is a comedian actually by the name Andy Andrews. And he wrote my favorite book, which is The Traveler's Gift. And The Traveler's Gift talks about it's not the 7 habits of highly effective people, but it's about 7 habits that all successful people have. And one of them is they have a forgiveness practice. But he wrote a follow-up book, completely separate story, but focused just on the topic of forgiveness. And it's a really great book. It's an easy read, and it's called, so the original title was The Isle of Saints, and now it's called The Heart Mender by Andy Andrews. So if anybody wants to get some more insight, I think he explains it in a great way. And it's a fun and interesting, semi-historically true story, or certainly set on the backdrop of some true stuff. So anyway, The Heart Mender or Isle of Saints by Andy Andrews is great.
Sylvia said, yes, great food for thought. Would love to discuss with you one-on-one further, Kevin.
All right, we will do that on our call on Thursday then.
Next coaching call.
That's it.
Yes, excellent. What else?
Anybody else have any last thoughts about forgiveness before we move on? Yeah, I agree with you, Jessica. Not forgiving is more of an injustice to yourself than more than anything. Yep, it's all about you.
Yeah. I love her comment before that, though. 14 years later, shampooing my hair, thinking back, damn them all. Yeah. So, yeah, Leanne Erie put out, and you already said this, but good Lord, that's a lot of vowels.
It's a lot, lots of O's.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono. Oh, it's fun to say. All right. What else? You said, does anybody else have anything on forgiveness before we move on? What are we moving on to? Hello?
Hello. So, Diana,
Bueller?
anybody? Diana forwarded a link, and I was browsing some fun questions. So Michelle asked earlier before we saw Sylvia's post and had that as a topic. She's like, what can we talk about that's fun? And I had some ideas, and then I thought, oh, that's gonna go down a politically incorrect trail. So Diana sent a link that has some
BMO, never take vacation again.
Exactly. So let's see here. Couple of questions I'll throw out there, and we can kind of decide if any of them are
so on the tail of the forgiveness conversation, Don, when also it's their perspective of what they did to you. Maybe to them they don't think it's wrong. We dive so much into it that we hurt ourselves and others who did nothing wrong to us. And then Don Wynn suggests we talk about food.
Yeah, because there's a topic.
That's a topic everybody can get on board with.
All right, so I'm gonna tell my it's funny that we brought up food, because as soon as Michelle said, what can we talk about that's fun, I thought about a meme that I posted onto Barb's Facebook page today. I'm gonna pull it up real quick here. It was hang on fuck else. So Barb is actually at a spa this week, getting some R&R, and that's why she's not here tonight. And she's also over 100 days. No, she's more than that. She's almost a year now, maybe over a year of clean eating.
So she's over a year.
She's over a year.
Year and a half, maybe, of no sugar, no flour. And as of very recently, she's made some other choices.
2 months ago. Yeah.
And so anyway, the meme I posted said, friend number 1, I go to yoga 5 days a week. Friend number 2, I plan vegan meals 1 week in advance. Me, I eat cake over the sink so I don't get crumbs in my bed. So, I thought that was kind of funny.
The best part of that is crumbs in my bed.
Crumbs in my bed. So, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you this year? Most embarrassing
this year. Wow, that's a tough one.
Crickets.
Yeah.
All right, while you're thinking about that one. All right.
What if I'm just extremely proud of
We'll give you all
everything
a moment to think about.
Huh?
What'd you say, Don?
What if I'm just extremely proud of everything I've done?
There you go. Not embarrassing at all.
Talking.
Get on with your bad self.
I'm
Absolutely.
talking.
Maybe I was embarrassed at one point and I forgave myself.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember it anymore.
So there's no emotional baggage attached to it.
It's gone.
Oh, we could go on for days about stuff that happens in the classroom with our with the trainers. For those of us who are in their classes, I'm just talking about the trainers.
I was thinking about that, Michelle, because
What'd you say, Ted?
I was thinking about that because there's so many examples I can think of stupid stuff that's happened to me, and I don't have the embarrassment emotional charge about them. And I froze out.
Oh!
And there it is. Now I'm back. I'm having fun internet
How
problems.
Embarrassing. You just froze right in the middle of
That was like the 10th time this call alone. I'm having fun internet.
All right. So what you said was, I keep thinking about stuff that happens in the class, and I don't have the embarrassment, and then you went away.
Yeah, I was saying that I don't necessarily have the embarrassment emotional charge around it as much anymore, really. So I can think of a ton of examples of things that have happened this year. But they're not embarrassing to me anymore. Now they're just funny.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, I would have wanted to die.
Yes, crawled into a hole. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of those. So because they are fun and they're funny, and like you know, that whole fear of embarrassment thing, as I've done more and more work on myself, and you know, Dominic jokes about forgiving yourself, but it really is just an awareness of, I don't really care what most people think about me. I care about the people that are here. I care about what you think about me. And I care about some of the people, most of the people, many of the people who are watching, just because we have that kind of relationship. But yeah, I don't really have embarrassment about things. I just think they're funny now. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's funny. I was thinking about the same thing. As soon as you went to embarrassed, I thought about class.
Yeah.
You know what?
I did too.
And when I thought about class, I thought, I've messed up a lot in class, and I've never been embarrassed about it, though. So, and what's funny is we say it, you know, it's been said before that there's some things that we have apprehension about doing, and there's a fear of, the fear is the apprehension. It's not about the actual doing whatever it is. So it might be conflict, or, you know, or confrontation with somebody about an issue you don't want to talk about. You might have the fear of that. But the fear of actually doing the talking, that doesn't exist. It's just the fear of getting to that point. And so a lot of times I will, and I'm not the only one, when we're training in class, we study and we go over, you know, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And and all of us have that, I really don't want to screw this up. I really don't want to screw this up. And I don't know if it's obviously not a crippling fear of embarrassment, but there's a tinge of it. There's always a tinge of, you don't want to mess up in the class. And then when I do mess up, there's absolutely no embarrassment whatsoever. It's I'll get it next time. But it's not that I don't care about what people think. I'll be honest with you. I really, really do care about what people think. But I don't think it's a detriment to the class because the intention's not there. If I ever did something with malice, or if I ever did something to injure or harm somebody, there might be a little bit. I've just never experienced that yet. And I think it all goes to the focus and the intent that, you know, what we're up here to do.
When I screw up in the classroom, I probably expend more effort not looking over at the side at all of your faces, either laughing at what I just did or bewilderment. Did he just say that? I didn't hear that right. Did he just say that? So that I just keep going, then I do actually focus on what I actually just did.
Yes.
And I'm a little bit ashamed to admit that nothing brings me more glee.
Oh, believe me, I know.
When I hear somebody mess up, as long as nobody got injured, I can't wait to write that down.
Yeah.
If I had ever messed up in class, then you guys would have things to say about me, but I know that's probably never happened.
So wait a second, I got it written down right here.
Funny story here. She says, "Good, you can share it as soon as I share Roz's story."
Oh, is that what I was actually just going to read Roz's thing? Okay, but before you do, I do have an embarrassing moment. Okay. This happened the last class that I was in, and I was opening the class and doing opening speeches, and I was sitting at my table, and I had opened the class. Everybody was in the classroom. They were in their chairs. And my horseshoe, and you know, my small horseshoe is in front of me, and I take the deep breath to start doing the opening speech setup or the instructions, and I burped. And so people who don't know me, I don't burp. I cannot burp. I have never physically been able to burp. And so now as I'm getting older, it sneaks up on me. Like real burps kind of sneak up on me, and they always surprise me. And so I was in class, opened my mouth, and a burp came out, and I was embarrassed because the person who was sitting on the end closest to me heard it and looked at me, and I started sweating, and I was a mess. Yeah, that was awful.
No.
So you're going to read Roz's?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Roz says, we have a florist next door to our sandwich shop. A lady that works there came in after coming in a few times and ordered a salad. Someone else took the order and put the name on the ticket. When the salad was done, I called her name. She didn't look up. I called it again. Nothing. I walked over to her and said, "Flower, your salad is ready," with a smile. She smiled back and left. And then I learned that her name isn't Flower. That's the name that was on the ticket because of where she worked. She told me her name many times, and then that happened. Flower. And I laughed a lot. It was awesome. Oh, Flower.
Flower and I laughed a lot. Yes.
Apparently, Alicia has ridden a hoverboard, and that provided some embarrassing moments for her. Yes, laughing at yourself is awesome.
It is.
Roz. Let's see.
Jessica
walked into a door today.
I'm awkward, so I do things every day. I almost fell today on nothing but air. Walked into a door. I'm always singing while the phone's ringing, waiting for customers to answer, and they catch me. I could go on. Y'all met me. You all met me. Come on.
That's funny. Bob Earl says, mine happened a couple weeks ago. Was in a hotel room. Woke up to use the restroom. Wasn't really awake. Opened the door and walked out into the hallway. That sounds like Michelle's story she told last
Yes.
week, being on her cruise. The door shut before I realized I wasn't in the bathroom. Had to go to the front desk at 3 a.m. in my underwear and a t-shirt. Awesome. Awesome. Embarrassing then, funny now. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. Yeah, that was I had my similar story, but that didn't happen this year.
No.
My story about being locked in the hallway on the cruise ship in my underwear.
Yeah. Thank you all for your vulnerability. So vulnerability is strength. That's one of our key messages. And I'm not going to share all of our key messages with you because that's how I roll. And
just a teaser.
I'm going to tease you with our messages. Yeah. Dominic, what do you got embarrassing about me? What do you write down? What did I do?
Let him get his Bible out.
You're on mute, Dominic.
Journal. You're on mute, love.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite one.
I love that one. That's my favorite one, too.
Well, they all have to do with processes. I don't want to talk about processes on the call.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to say your recovery from your processes. You ever see somebody fall down and jump back up like I meant to do that? You do that better than anybody else.
Thank you.
Years
of falling down has taught me how to pop back up.
Yep, you pop back up like a ta-da!
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
All right, next question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Do you have something else there?
I don't.
Oh, all right. So the next fun question is, what's your secret talent? Anybody have a secret talent?
No, they're all very public. So all of them are out there.
Yeah.
I have a secret talent.
What's it?
It's
about not to be a secret.
You're right. I actually can sing really well.
Oh, you didn't just put yourself out there, did you?
I can. And I don't do it in front of people because I get too embarrassed.
No. Don't offer secret talent without showing the talent.
And, I have a secret talent that I cannot sing.
That's
I want to hear that, Michelle. What do we have here?
What?
Let's hear it.
Let's hear what?
Your talent.
Oh no. No.
Well, in that case, that's my talent as well.
This is my own High5 learning moment. The reason it's a secret talent is because I don't do it in front of other people because I'm too scared.
And where else in your life?
Exactly.
And you can
are you holding back the very best parts of you?
And you can hear Michelle sing by coming to one of our classes.
There you go.
When's your next performance?
You can hear Michelle sing.
We should put that in our marketing.
She will be live in San Diego, September 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Sold out.
At the Best Western Island Palms.
And it's not sold out yet. Seats are available. Sign up now.
Yeah.
Make sure and tip your
They're
waiters.
slowly going. Quick.
And the teen lounge. Alicia says that she sings well too. Yeah, she's like a professional singer, and she says you should do a duet, Michelle.
Yeah, well, someday.
Nance says I used to compete in the world of national competitive breaking, wood and concrete. I've seen
I
the
saw your
videos of that.
post, Nancy.
Yep.
Nance is a badass. Let's just be honest.
That is a fact.
Yeah. So mine is probably I can juggle. It's not really impressive, but it's
secret. I didn't know that.
talent.
That is a secret, yeah. Anybody else? High5 Roz says High5 Leadership starring Michelle Yeoh Fink. Yep. Ta-da! Jessica Lichtenberg says rock, paper, scissors. Wait, that's not a secret. I'm a champion.
He was a champion.
He is. What else? Come on, people, put it out there.
Nothing. Chad's secret
Can't think
talent.
of anything that's a secret.
It's not a secret, right? He's a
Yeah.
Lego master.
Yeah, the Lego's not a secret. That's
Lego master. He's also a Scrum master.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that.
No, certified even.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got his bona fide. Dominic, what about you? Surely there's something.
It's not secret because I share my gifts with everyone.
Yes.
If
Yes.
I could sing, I would rip that off right now.
Yeah. Oh, so here Roz says, I have a freaky ability to memorize movie lines. Spend time with Dominic and I, and it's probably not a secret. I actually have that as well. I am kind of a movie Rain Man.
I'm gonna tell a story about that. So one of the first times that Michelle and I reconnected, so we knew each other in high school, and then we went about 25 years without any connection. And she came to Houston for business, and we had dinner together.
Finally forgave you.
She still hasn't forgiven me. But, so we were talking. I was married at the time to my second wife, and we were talking about how we met. And Michelle, said, "So how did you meet?" I said, "Well, we had one of the worst first dates ever." And she said, "Why? What happened?" I said, "We went to a movie, and it was a Paul Newman movie, and it was one of the worst movies ever." She said, "Wait, what year was it?" And I said, "This 1995." And she went, "Was it Nobody's Fool?"
Nobody's
That
fool.
would have been Nobody's Fool. Yeah.
And she's like, "You got an Academy Award nomination." I'm like, "All right, Rain Man, just settle down over there."
Yeah.
See, I threw in a little reference myself, a little movie reference there to Rain Man to kind of.
I see what you did there.
Yes, you did. Aaron Suplick says, I have more of secret knowledge of plumbing and home remodeling.
Oh, that's useful.
Knowledge that it's not a talent.
Not a
it's
talent,
knowledge.
she says.
It's still useful. I could use that right now.
Wow.
All right, Don's throwing out a challenge there, Dominic and Michelle. He says, without cheating, Bruce Willis had an album. Name the album.
No, that's music. That's music.
If anybody would ever bought it, we would know what it is. He did sing.
Don, I didn't
on a
say
star, though.
music. I said movies.
Like Bruce Willis was a movie star. I think
He did sing
genres.
"Swing on a Star" in Hudson Hawk. He did do that.
Which was an awful movie.
How's that for a poll?
That was.
Back when he had some hair.
I do remember him having a single that was in like on pop radio stations in the top 40, but I don't remember anything else.
He says it was tops on the billboard.
The billboard in your kitchen.
All right. Well, we're just being silly now. How is that for fun, Michelle?
That was awesome. That was fun. See? Fun. Chad, wasn't that fun?
That was fun. Bruce Willis is really young on this album cover. Now I
Return of the Bruno. I forgot about that.
He has hair on his head, doesn't he?
Good job, Don.
does have a lot of hair.
Oh, we got data there.
What's the name of the album?
The Return of Bruno.
Oh,
You
yeah.
remember that.
He said without cheating, but there was no way I was going to come up with that.
I didn't know it. I wanted to know.
Yeah. That's
Join us back here in 1 month when we do off-Broadway trivia.
I'm out of town that week.
As Michelle does the aria from Cats.
That I can tune in for.
Oh, we crack ourselves up.
All right. Anybody else have anything before we put this to rest?
I think it needs to be rested.
And so, and
All right.
I would like to throw out. I always gotta high five a little bit more. We've done as a team. The High5 team has done an exercise on establishing what our core values are. And actually, for my teammate Chad and myself, one of our core values is fun. And so that's why Kevin was asking me when Kevin asked me today, and I said, well, can we do something fun? And we just had fun. And if you're out there and you're watching and you're listening and you're laughing, or even if you've smiled, whatever this was for you, it raised your vibe, it raised your energy, it made things more positive. And having fun is easy to do, and it goes a long way for making whatever situation you're in much more enjoyable and productive.
And if you didn't have fun, we did. So,
Right. If you didn't have fun, you're doing it wrong.
Amen.
All right. Enough. All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Sylvia, thank you for giving us the topic to start off with. Again, if anybody wants I saw a couple people mention that they wanted a link to the Ho'oponopono. Shoot me an email. The best way to do that is shoot me an email, Kevin@High5 Leadership, and I will be happy to connect you with that. Thank you, everybody on the panel. I love you guys. And we will.
Thank you, High5 family. Love you all.
Love you
All right.
all.
Bye-bye.
Joy.
Good night and sweet dreams.
All right. Hope you're having fun, Barb. I'm going to eat some cake over the sink.